In my last video in this series, I gave you 5 theories on the potential causes of OCD. If you haven't watched that video, I suggest you watch it before you watch this one. You'll find the link to my last video below this video. In this video, I'll give you the last 5 theories on the potential causes of OCD. Let's check them out. 6. Avoidance learning. In its most fundamental sense, the term avoidance refers to behaviors which a person carries out in an effort to prevent or avoid danger. Avoidance learning is the process of learning to use avoidance behaviors in certain circumstances. An easy way of understanding avoidance responses is by comparing it with escape responses. A person carries out an escape response in an attempt to escape once an unpleasant stimulus is presented. For example, attempting to cover one's ears when confronted with an uncomfortably loud noise. On the other hand, an avoidance response is a learned voluntary behavior which a person carries out to prevent or avoid an unpleasant stimulus before it is presented. For example, this man puts on safety earmuffs before turning on an industrial machine he knows will make loud noises. Such an avoidance response can only take place after avoidance learning has occurred, where a person learns to associate the unpleasant unconditioned stimulus, like a loud noise, with a conditioned stimulus, which could be entering a certain environment or turning on a loud industrial machine. So avoidance learning, where you learn to avoid a certain situation, can cause OCD, they say. 7. Cognitive theory. Many cognitive theorists believe that individuals with OCD have faulty beliefs and that it is their misinterpretation of intrusive thoughts that leads to OCD. As I've partly said before, according to the cognitive model of OCD, everyone experiences intrusive thoughts from time to time. However, people with OCD often have an inflated sense of responsibility and misinterpret the intrusive thoughts as being imperative and significant, which could lead to catastrophic consequences. The repeated misinterpretation of intrusive thoughts leads to the development of obsessions, and because the thoughts are so distressing, the individual engages in compulsive behavior to try to resist, block, or neutralize the obsessive thoughts. In the cognitive theory, the difference between normal intrusive thoughts and obsessional intrusive thoughts lies not in the occurrence or even the uncontrollability of the intrusions themselves, but rather in how people with OCD interpret the occurrence and or content of the intrusions. If the interpretation of the intrusive thoughts focuses on harm or danger, then the emotional reaction is likely to be anxiety. Such interpretations of intrusive thoughts and consequent mood changes may become part of a mood appraisal negative spiral, but would not be expected to result in compulsive behavior. Cognitive behavioral models therefore propose that normal obsessions become problematic when a person interprets either the occurrence or content of the obsessions as being personally meaningful and threatening. Thus, according to the cognitive hypothesis, researchers have hypothesized that OCD would occur if a person interprets intrusive thoughts as an indication that the person may have been, or may come to be, responsible for harm or the prevention of harm. Central to how threatening this interpretation is the idea of not only how likely the outcome is, but how awful this is to the individual. Furthermore, this is set against the individual's sense of how they might cope in these circumstances. According to cognitive models, the interpretation of an intrusive thought results in many voluntary and involuntary reactions, like buying a lot of rock climbing gear. And these reactions can have an impact on the strength of belief in the original interpretation. Negative interpretations of intrusive thoughts can therefore cause and maintain OCD. For example, if this guy feels he has enough gear, it might ease his OCD. But if he keeps feeling he doesn't have enough gear, and therefore feels he's still in danger, his OCD might get worse. 8. Psychoanalytic theory. Commonly accepted in the past, but nowadays increasingly disregarded, this psychoanalytic theory suggests that OCD develops because of a person's fixation arising from unconscious conflicts or discomfort they experienced during infancy or childhood, or the way a person interacted with his or her parents during childhood. This theory is now quite rightly disregarded due to the failure of psychoanalytic therapy to treat OCD. 9. Stress. Stress and parenting styles are environmental factors which researchers have blamed for causing OCD, but no one has yet found any evidence to show that. Stress does not actually cause OCD, but major stresses or traumatic life events may spark the onset of OCD. However, these are not thought to cause OCD, but rather trigger it in someone who's already predisposed to the disorder. If left untreated, everyday anxiety and stress in a person's life will worsen the symptoms of OCD. Tell me about it. I know all about that. Problems at school or work, university exam pressures, and normal everyday problems which relationships can bring are all contributory factors to increasing the severity and frequency of a person's OCD. 10. Depression. Depression is also sometimes thought to cause OCD, although without question, depression will make OCD symptoms worse. Most experts believe that depression is often a consequence of OCD rather than a cause. So they don't believe depression can cause OCD, but that OCD can cause depression. This information came from these websites. You'll find these links below this video. If you found this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel and watch this series from the start. In 2 weeks, I'll be back with a new video in my series on LGBTQ+ related topics. Till then, I only want to say 3 things. Thank you for watching, take care, and bye for now.